Okay, so first I want to talk about the challenges, guys. I want to talk about the challenges of what's happening. I don't know, for those of you who are top three or are doing fairly well with your Google Maps, your Google business page already, I don't know if you've seen a drop in inbound leads, but that's something that we've been hearing pretty much across the board. And most industry statistics show about a 32 to 34% drop in leads being generated. Now, some of that is due to AI kind of shouldering its way through because AI is growing so fast. It's growing at a rate of 300 to 400% year to year, whereas Google's only growing 2 to 3% because it's kind of plateaued because everybody uses Google. So Google's still crazy valuable because all the volume is there, but the higher quality leads are coming from AI, and AI is growing so rapidly you cannot ignore it because Google is implementing AI in a way to where they're trying to keep people from ever going to your website. Have you noticed that? They want you to stay on their platform because that's when they're making money from clicks. So anything they can do to keep people from clicking through to your website, that's a double-edged sword, of course, but it means very hot leads, right? Because you are tip top and the people are treating them as if they're recommended by a friend. And that makes sense when we take into consideration the way people treat AI. I'm sure you've seen all the little news segments of people using AI like their therapists. They're using it for investing advice. They're using it for medical advice to where they had to put guardrails on it because people were overriding and second guessing their doctors and surgeons talking to AI. Well, my AI said this. So they had to kind of clamp it down a little bit so it cannot give too much medical advice because people were treating it that way. They're even using it for mental health, relationship advice. So it only makes sense. If they trust it for all of those things, you better believe they're going to trust it a lot more so than just going to Google when it comes to getting advice for mortgage loans. So that's what makes it so important. But let me show you, I'm going to exit the slides here already, and then we're going to talk about what doesn't work and what actually gets you in trouble now. And I want you guys to pay attention to every word about this because there's one big thing that has changed in 2026, and that is if we try gaming the system, Google has now moved on to permanent bans. So if you got caught doing something or Google thought you did something, right? Even if it looked like you did something, but you didn't really, you're doing something kind of black hat, right? You would maybe get kind of deprecated for a couple of months, or maybe they kind of push you down in your ranking. Nowadays, they've taken a hardline stance to where they just outright ban, and there is no way around it. You're not getting that account back. It's gone forever. So that's why there are certain things here that you absolutely 100% do not want to do anymore because it will put your account at risk, and I don't want to see anybody getting permanent bans. So we're going to talk about what's safe, what not to do anymore. But let me show you what the problem is. Give me 1 second. I'm going to exit the slides, and I'm going to open up an image here that I want you to see. Let's see, where is the image? Just give me one moment here, folks. A really powerful image to show you. Here we go. Here it is. Okay, let me switch to this other screen. And I want you guys to tell me if this looks familiar. You should be seeing it right about now. Okay. Do we know what we're looking at here? Now, this is an overhead Google map. One on the left, one on the right. They're the exact same area, exact same mortgage company. Now, when I spoke to this loan officer told me, "Oh, I'm number one for my entire city. I can't really do any better. I'm crushing it, right?" Leads were kind of down though. His leads were kind of down. He's kind of wondering why, but he was under the impression he's like, "Oh, whenever I search for myself, I'm always positioned number one, and I had my friend search for me too, and I was number one there as well. So yeah, I'm number one." On the left, this is what's called a GEO grid overlay. Okay. Now, a GEO grid overlay is where I'm able to examine and see what your true rankings are based on if the person doing the searching is occupying a different part of your city. So when this person told me inbound leads were down and he didn't know why, I could look at this and immediately see why. But unfortunately, Google doesn't share that with you, right? We have to pull that data. We have to pull that information. So I can see he's dropped out of, first of all, that number one position really only works. I got 2 miles separating each one of these green bubbles, So there are any bubbles, orange or green. The orange means you've dropped out of the top three. So your inbound leads are down anywhere from 60 to 80% once that immediate drop. If you're down in position 5 and 6, you're down even more. If you maintain number 4, you're still getting some leads, not as much as the top three, but once you drop below that 4, yeah, you're going to see a really steep drop off. But this explains about a 25 to 35% drop in lead generation. Now, the problem is that there have been a lot of changes in the way that Google weighs the algorithm and how they value your site. And there's been a big change in how reviews are treated, all sorts of changes. But I'm going to give you guys the first piece of advice here is stop trying to target the entire city. Don't do that anymore. We used to go after and try to grab as much real estate as possible and use our trigger words that, what's going to give me the biggest piece of geography, because the bigger chunk I can grab, then obviously the more leads I'm going to get. But let me give you right out of the gate, this is pure gold. Here's what I want you to do. Identify small micro segments of your city and go all at it gangbusters for about 30 days. So let me give you an example. Like, let's say I was this loan officer right here. I would take a look and see, like, let's pretend I was in St. Louis. Maybe I would grab, instead of all of St. Louis, I would grab Chesterfield, and maybe come over here and grab St. Charles. Now, those two cities combined, we got about 75, 80,000 people. It's much easier to grab those two positions, and I'm going to grab them much faster. So I'm actually going to get more leads much quicker. Because while everybody else is optimizing for St. Louis, St. Louis, St. Louis, for the big city, because they think, well, that's where all the money's at, everybody's ignoring these smaller parts of the greater metropolitan area. So micro target first, and as soon as you get into the top 3 for those, go after your next batch. So what you're going to do is, how do we eat an elephant, right? So one bite at a time, we're going to take over the entire city. I'm going to take over this over here and this over here. Then I'm going to take over this corner over here, and then maybe this right over here. And within about 5 to 6 months, I've overtaken all my competition, because I niched down to the various regions. That is the way to do it in 2026. You'll get much, much quicker results, okay? So for the record, if you have not seen an overlay like this for your market, shoot me an email, because I can run these overlays and I can run a full examination of your marketplace, and we can see where your true rankings are. Because the other challenge is that this is only one trigger word. What most individuals are targeting mortgage broker, but you also have mortgage lender, and then oftentimes it's being triggered by loan officers, and we have about 6 or 7 different variations that Google considers acceptable for mortgage loans. So everybody's focusing either on mortgage broker or mortgage lender, or just those two, when in reality you have about 6. And in a lot of areas now, you have a lot of the niche loans are even triggering as well. So if we're going after VA loans, if we're going after USDA, so if you're not showing up in those rankings, then there's a whole lot more traffic and meat on those bones. Okay. So any questions on this, guys? Kind of niching down and going one bite at a time for your city. It's going to make a huge difference. Okay, let's head back to our slides here. Give me just a sec. Okay, absolutely, John. No problem. No problem. Okay, so here's where the big changes are, guys. We used to talk about getting a bunch of backlinks. And what did we talk about? We talked about anchor text. Remember that? I think my 2008, 2009 SEO training videos are probably still out there on YouTube somewhere. And we talked about anchor text, anchor text, anchor text, putting those clickable links. 2026, we don't do that. You might have a handful of anchor texts and a little bit of interlinking going on, but it's bare minimum. It's very, very easy to overdo it. And let me tell you guys right now, one thing I see a lot of people absolutely destroying the ranking is when if you're one of the individuals that's using things like press releases and mass distribution to get links of anchor text links pointing back to your site, that's a very, very easy way to lose control of how many anchor text links are out there, and for Google to consider that over optimization, and boom, get zapped. My recommendation, don't risk it, because you have no control over if those press releases or if those articles are shared. So let's say it gets shared hundreds of times. Now all of a sudden you have all this anchor text out there, and it can look like you're over optimizing. Again, Google is very strict nowadays. Doesn't mean that they're going to zap your entire site, but it can definitely have a negative impact from everything that we've seen from the signaling. So I would strongly recommend against using that approach, right? Keep the anchor text links out of it, okay? Now, it doesn't mean you can't link back to your site. It's specifically the anchor text that's kind of considered a little bit, not necessarily gray hat, but you're kind of straddling the fence there if you're doing it too often, okay? The other thing is, just getting a whole bunch of reviews, that trust signal doesn't really work much anymore. Google's giving a whole lot more weight to specific services mentioned in the reviews. So here's my recommendation, guys. If you really want to move the needle, be ready to ask for that review at the closing table. Have a tablet handy, have a laptop handy, or hey, I'm going to send you the link on the phone right now. Hey, do you mind if I get a video? Or at least take a photo, happy smiling. And there's nothing wrong with making recommendations, right? The guys that are out there with 1,200, 1,500 reviews, you see the loan officers out there. Do you know how they get that many reviews? They typically write the review with the customer's permission and say, well, I have an ideal review here. If you agree with this, would you say? I'm not saying that that's a route you need to go. But what I am saying is that giving a little bit of guidance on specific verbiage that you need them to use. Say, listen, the bulk of my business comes from my reviews and word of mouth. So it would be very helpful to me if you mention the exact type of loan that we did for you, right? Just kind of give them a little bit of guidance of what would be helpful for you, because they're doing that as a favor to you, right? They're happy. They got the keys to their house. They're ready to go. That's the optimal opportunity to get that review. The amount of reviews you get is not as important as the quality of the reviews, mentioning the specific mortgage services as they're listed on your GBP and as they're listed on your website. When I say velocity of referrals, I've seen individuals with only 60 or 70 reviews beat out folks with 7, 8, 900 because the velocity of the reviews dropped for the guys with a larger amount of reviews. In as little as 18 days without a review, we're starting to see decline in rankings. It doesn't mean you're going to fall off the charts. It doesn't mean you're falling all across the board, but we do start to see a little bit of deprecation and degradation of ranking in certain parts of the city with as little as 18 days of going without a review. It's the velocity. Google's put a whole lot more weight on the velocity rather than just the total volume of reviews. So my recommendation is definitely get more serious about and pay more attention to how long it's been since your last review. Okay. Now, when I say that your site needs to match your GBP, I'm talking about every single service you offer, that if it's listed on your website, it 100% must be on your GBP. You have on your GBP the capability to add services, right? We add them one at a time. We want them spelled exactly the same. We want the descriptions exactly the same. It needs to mirror image your website. If you have social media, remember, GBP now allows you to connect some social media platforms. Connect them. Again, we want a mirror image of your web presence on that GBP. That is of far more importance than just bulk number of reviews, which has been deprecated. Okay. Now, something else that Google's begun doing, we got to get away from brochure style websites. We got to get away from brochure style websites. Self-promotion sounding, kind of flowery, fluffy language, salesy language doesn't cut it. Google wants to see, you'll see here, I have listed CPA level proprietary insights. What that means is you got to sound like an expert. Now, that's more for the AI than it is necessarily the GBP, although it does help with GBP as well with your Google Maps. But AI platform, It's looking at completely different parameters. Now there is a lot of overlap between what AI is looking at and what Google's looking at, but there are some completely different parameters that they look at. And one of them is they want to look at your level of expertise. So we call that your entity, and they want to see, is this person a true expert? And here's a good question to ask yourself that will tell if you're doing it right or wrong. If AI can just easily answer a prospect's question about your types of services without consulting you, without consulting your website, without consulting your copy, then you're on the wrong track. If it can just go out there and answer it. But if you're adding true professional information that is not just on every other website out there, and I'll give you examples of this here in a moment, guys, then you're ahead of the curve and you're going to dominate. Because most folks are not paying attention to their web copy. They wrote their web copy to do one thing: promote, 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 promote. But that actually can have a negative impact nowadays. We want examples of expertise. Eric, GBP, that's your Google business profile. So it's just your Google Maps. See, I understand the confusion because Google changed the name 3 times. I know it's irritating. You know, that's why I kind of flip flop back and forth. Is I say Google Maps because I know some people aren't familiar with GBP just because of the all the flip flopping Google used to do on it. So that's why I kind of use both of them to make sure that everybody's familiar with, because some people are familiar with one but not the other. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna exit here, and I'm gonna show you guys some really cool things and examples of exactly what I'm describing and the proper structure of a website. And within the next 20 minutes, I'm gonna show you a website that, quite frankly, I feel 99% confident in saying it's probably one of the single best websites on the planet for lead generation when it comes to mortgages, when it comes to ranking. And I could say that with a whole lot of confidence. And you're going to see what I mean, because this completely flips the lid or turns the tables on the process of lead generation. So you definitely want to see that. But first, let's look at how it's basically self-perpetuating process here, right? They're all kind of leaning on each other a little bit and creating this 360-degree process of verification and identifying you as an expert. Or they want to know, who are you? Why should we care? What questions do you answer? And how do I know you're a true expert? That's the way you need to look at your website from now on, right? So we call it EAT. I'm sure most of you guys have probably seen the whole EAT process here, EEAT. So that's experience, expertise, authority, and trust. So how do we satisfy each one? Because these are the 4 big elements that we need to satisfy for hyperlocal. So the experience is, what have you actually done? How do you prove that? Well, video testimonials go a long way. Written testimonials, I mean, they can help a little bit, but they're so, AI's made it so easy for people to just completely spam content nowadays. So that's why, content, unless it's properly structured, doesn't move the needle like it used to. Video, yes, I understand that AI can make, video now too, of course, and very high quality video, but there is a barrier to entry there. It's more expensive, it's more time consuming, and it's more obvious. So most people aren't going to try it. They're not going to try to pass off as legit. I mean, you will get some, but most people aren't going to do that. So the video still carries a whole lot more weight, which is why I recommended, if you can, get some video testimonials. Bring your camera at the closing table and see if you can get permission, because this will help. All else being equal, you have 2 identical GBP or MAPS accounts. The one that's got a handful of video testimonials on there is going to blow the other out of the water. I guarantee it. Okay, expertise. So we call those CPA level ROI breakdowns and proprietary loan calculations. So you need to, this is basically show me, don't tell me, show me. How can you show expertise? Instead of a bunch of articles about, oh yeah, we've been in business for so long, I like taking, long walks on the beach, blah, blah, blah. No. Let's replace that with showing off how much you know that other people don't, and presenting it in a way that AI would not necessarily think to do. It has to be something that shows you're an actual expert in the field. So that's why we list things like, case studies and whatnot. There's a little bit of overlap between the experience and the expertise, is because case studies and showing accounts that you've rescued where things went bad, but whatnot. Those are the types of things that show, oh yeah, this person really does have expertise, not just in any old loan, but these specific loan products. Authority, okay? Premium directory citations. Do not go to Fiverr or one of those sites and pay for, oh yeah, I'll get you 300 citations. That's a great way to completely wreck your site. Low quality directories can have the exact opposite intended effect. Google does not like those anymore. They went from not liking them to where they don't even really tolerate them anymore. There's really only a handful of directories, about 20 to 25 directories that really matter anymore. We're talking the big ones. You got your Yahoo and Bing places that kind of emulate, try to be a little bit like Google Maps. You got your Yelp directory, you got your Better Business Bureau. Think of the big ones. Those are the ones that matter. Having a Facebook business page, having your NAP, your name, address, phone number, exact match, mirroring 100%. Don't even want a single dot different on your LinkedIn profile and bio. You want it exactly matching your Google Maps. Right? Premium directory. Going out and getting press releases, I mentioned that earlier, that works if you're getting the quality tier ones. If you're getting listed on Yahoo Finance and whatnot, and you could do that for a couple $100. Just don't be throwing your anchor text links on them, right? But if you're getting press releases, guest submissions to big blogs, that especially if they're local to you and relevant on topic about finance, these are the things that actually move the needle, right? And then we got trust. So there has to be consistency. NAP, that's your name and address and phone number, must be a mirror image across the board, exact matches everywhere. Okay, so these are the basics. I've only shown you just the fundamentals here, but I'm going to show you some more advanced concepts that just absolutely crush it, because we're going to talk about schema and things that you can do on your site that absolutely make a difference. Okay, so I'm going to show you one slide here, then I'm going to go live and show you some screenshots of websites that actually implement this, and you will see right away why it's completely different. Answer cards. Think Reddit, guys. How many of you guys are familiar with TLDR? If you spent any time on Reddit, you know what that is, right? Too long, didn't read. So if you're not familiar with that, on Reddit, when somebody makes a really long post, maybe 1,000+ words, they'll put a little summary on there, and it's a little bitty box that says TLDR, stands for too long, didn't read. It'll give just maybe a 2 or 3 sentence summary that explains it. So if you don't have to go through and read the whole post. It's just, oh, okay, now I understand. So imagine doing that for your website, but you do it at the top of your website. I mean, you can do it other spaces of your website, but it carries so much more weight when it's right there at the top. We call those answer cards, and it's treat it like somebody just asked you a question. Should not be promotional. Should not be like, hey, we've been in business, blah blah blah. No, write it as if somebody just walked right in front of you, asked you a question about a mortgage, and you're answering it. And you know why? Because that's how AI searches. When somebody asks a question. So the real sneaky trick here is to understand, what are people searching for? What questions are they asking? And I'm going to use my website to answer those questions exactly as if they were standing right here. Maybe a 50, 60 word fragment, right? Because it's quotable. AI is looking for quotes. They want to be able to say, if somebody said, hey, I'm a veteran. I'm thinking about doing a VA loan, but my loan amount's $872,000. What's the VA limit? I'm here in South Carolina. Well, who wants to take a wild guess? What do you think you want to have on your website if you do VA loans? You want to have an answer card that answers exactly that question. But how do we know what questions people are asking? Well, let me show you a cool little trick here. I'm going to pause. I'm pausing my screen here. I'm going to show you guys a super cool tool that very, very few people are using. And I want you guys to start using this before you ever do anything on your website. Okay. Here we go. Okay, somebody give me, Give me an example. Give me like a mortgage type or a frequently asked question or something that you encounter. Give me something in the chat. I'm gonna pump it onto this website. I'm gonna show you exactly what you do. Somebody give me. What do we got? What's a common question you encounter? Let me, while I'm waiting for those to come over, let me go back to sharing. I'll move this over to the new screen. Okay, here's the site. This is a really cool tool. Okay, I see some questions coming over. Okay, how much do I qualify for? Let's say first-time home buyer, or let's say for FHA. Okay, so what you do, guys, is this is actually going to search the web, and it's going to give you a full breakdown of all the different keyword phrases, the exact questions. Now, it takes a couple minutes, but it's also going to give you purchase intent versus informational intent. And then it's going to show you the differences of how people ask these questions, whether they're on social media, whether they're on AI, or whether they're on Google. And you see right here, it's got AI models. It's actually going to, oops, I think I double clicked on there. There we go. So we got to give it a little while. And I'm going to come back to this, and you're going to see just the mountain of information that it gives you. And I want you to use this. And there's a free version. You can do 3 free searches a day, so you don't even have to pay for it. I mean, although I do recommend. But what you do is you take those with purchase intent, because it's going to show you top of funnel, bottom of funnel. When somebody's serious about finding a home loan, you're going to take those exact questions and you're going to answer them on your website. I don't care if you have to add 20 new pages to your site. I promise you it's going to be worth the effort to do it. And you're going to use the exact way, verbatim, the exact way that question was asked. That's how you're going to ask it on your site. Does that make sense? It's very, very easy, but this makes a world of difference in your content. Now, let me show you what a good website looks like that's using this structured data. Give me just 1 second here. Let me pull up an image. Let's head over here. Watch this. Okay, I gotta share, it's not coming over to the new screen. Okay, there we go, now it is. Boom, all right. Okay, check this out, let's scroll down. Now look at this page. What do you notice about this page? It's question-based. There's no promotion on this page. Not talking about how great we are, not talking about how fast we close. AI doesn't care about any of that. AI cares about giving answers to the exact verbatim questions that they were just asked. Now, typical HTML on a website can be quite messy. There's a lot of variance between HTML, and there can be a lot of errors, probably not WD3 compliant, and there's just going to be all sorts of errors. It's going to slow down the loading time. There's going to be all sorts of problems with it, right? Structured data, schema. This is structured data. The best way to think of schema and structured data is to think of a spreadsheet. Everything has its own designated column and row, and it's organized. It's easier for the AI to read that information, and it's a lighter lift that uses less resources, less tokens, less API, et cetera, that has to be used for it to scrape up this information, to scoop it up and consume it, because it's delivered in a structured format. So it knows what it's looking at right away. When you deliver your content this way, guys, AI loves you for it. And so does Google, by the way. But see how my data right here is structured? It looks like this is kind of a spreadsheet, doesn't it? This could be an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet. So this is example 1. But you can see here, we're asking a question verbatim as we found it on Answer the Public. Here's another question. We're answering another question exactly as we found it. And we're giving factual answers, no self-promotion. And then I'm going to, okay, let me give it to you in a structured format too. Boom. Here's some great value add information to demonstrate I know what the heck I'm talking about. I don't tell you I'm an expert. But the old-fashioned way is to sit here and say, well, I've been doing mortgages since 1996 and blah, blah, blah. I'm here to help people. No. Demonstrate that expertise. Don't tell them about the expertise. Demonstrate it. Do you know where you do brag? You know where you do the self-promotion? It's in your testimonials. Let your clients do that for you. We got to stop blowing our own trumpets because AI is completely ignoring that. But where they pay close, because they expect you to say good things about yourself, but where they do pay attention to it, where AI comes back and tells the person doing the search, saying, hey, I need a loan officer that could do FHA loans. I'm in the Chicago area. I need somebody who can close fast. AI, when it's checking your reviews, and if it sees you got 47 reviews and 10 out of those 47 mention how fast you close, AI is going to come back there and say, oh, you know what? Bob over here in Chicago, he's known for and has received a large amount of compliments and positive feedback on how fast he closes, so I'm going to recommend you contact Bob. But if you talk about how fast you close on your website, AI completely ignores it. I shouldn't say 100% ignores it. There is a possibility, but let's just say it's very, very low probability because it tends to ignore it. So I don't want to speak in absolutes because there are exceptions to the rule. Okay, let's look at another example here. Okay, who can tell me what was done correctly on this website? What do you notice that's different here than a traditional web page? We're starting off with, oh, let's see here. Exactly, the video. We got video, multimodal content, guys. Multimodal, multiple formats will always blow pure text pages out of the water because it shows expert, it shows time and dedication. It's so easy for AI to generate huge amounts of content fast that it's not impressing Google, it's not impressing AI. But when you got charts, a downloadable PDF, you got a video, you might even have an audio clip or a podcast link. You got some of your posts, you're linking to your post or maybe embedded posts to your LinkedIn content. Maybe you got a newsletter on here. That's multimodal content. It blows the plain text out of the water. Okay. So she's got multimodal here. But again, the other thing she's doing different is once again, we start the page off with an answer box. Again, question, answer, simple, verbatim, right? And then down here, this is taking care of the entity aspect. Remember, you have to be the expert entity, right? So you have to show what makes you different. Part of that means that whenever you do list your name and your title, if you have any areas of expertise, you need to list them. I know a lot of loan officers laugh at real estate agents because they always like all their little designations right after their name. But in 2026, that actually helps. Especially if you have previous experience, like maybe you were a CPA or a CFP or something previously, or maybe you kind of do both. You have a side gig or another business over here. Whatever qualifies as making you an expert at something that someone else might not be, AI is going to pick up on it. It's going to take note of that. Okay. So now these are just plain pages. I have not shown you the killer web pages yet, by the way, guys. These are just, I'm just showing you a low level, kind of an average looking website that's implementing it. So don't think that this is the big wow moment. What I'm doing is just showing you some average execution here that would make otherwise traditional standard type website beat up on its competition. Because again, we have another answer box here, right? Or a card. So what is this? This is expertise. This is demonstrating expertise and knowledge. right? So it's giving snapshot, giving information here that shows expertise around what's going on in the marketplace instead of self-promoting. And then we got a reference to a tax calculator here. So now, again, that's value add, that's engagement on the page. These are the things that are moving the needle. So, okay, how do I set up a box like this? I'm going to give you guys, check this out. Here's what I got for you guys later. Let me see. I'm going to give you guys, where did my PDF go? Crap. You know what? I opened up a PDF here. Here it is. Okay, check this out. All these different technical sounding terms, I made up a checklist that shows you the code. Okay? So these are all the guidelines on how to create all the different types of box, all the ornamentation. We talked about information gain. Those are comparison tables where you're going to show this versus that, or like her data card there showing the marketplace snapshot. That would be considered information gain. Quoting rates and showing rates for the day, that would be considered information gain. The schema for EAT, this is showing yourself as the expert, the entity, all the code that creates this proper. There's a ton of places you can find this code out there. Most of them are not structured proper. They're not going to help you a whole lot. I mean, they're better than nothing, but they can cause problems if they're not structured appropriately. All of these are structured appropriately. Okay, so I have this PDF for you, so it has everything that we talk about here. Okay. Now, let me show you guys something. This is what I've been waiting for, and I'm freaking excited. I've got 2 levels of wow here that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the smaller wow first, but then I'm going to show you the one that's going to blow you out of your seat. So let's talk about. Let me pause this real quick so I can go and open this up. Let me get my tab open, and I'm going to show you a site that meets all of the criteria in a completely different way than you've probably ever considered. Because we keep talking about information gain, separation, what questions are being asked, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So have you ever considered doing this? Give me just a sec. Let me share. Okay, let's see if you guys can see it. There we go. All right. What we created is we scraped all the loan officers, all the mortgage originators in the area that we wanted to rank, and we created a mortgage broker directory. So let's say that somebody was looking for and going to Google or going to AI and looking for who's the best mortgage broker in Texas. It could be FHA, it could be VA, it could be USDA, it could be jumbo, it could be first-time home buyer, it could be refinance, whatever we want. We scraped up literally every ounce of information, all the reviews from all across the internet, and we just talked about those information gain cards. I created information gain cards for every single freaking loan officer, all my competition. Why would I do that? Look at this. I got VA loans. So if they're doing a VA loan, if they click the VA here, it's going to filter out and only show them the loan officers who we have confirmed actually specialize in VA loans. They want to do a USDA loan, it's going to find them everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean only those with good reviews. I'm not going to show them the guys with 2.5s and 3s and all that crap, right? So that's why it says there's only 847 loan officers. Is you got to earn your way into this directory, right? So I have everything: cash out, refinance, DSCR, refi, jumbo, every category imaginable. Now, what do you think I'm doing here? Why do you think I'm doing this? Browse by Houston neighborhoods. Remember we said to target by smaller bites. The Woodlands, Katy, Sugarland, River Oaks, the Heights, Pearland. I got 20 plus parts of Houston. So we could dominate them until I got the whole freaking thing. Why do you think what do you think the benefit is to doing something like this? Now we're going to do information gain. FHA, conventional, minimum down payments, minimum credit score. Now we're showing off expertise, right? You got to show yourself as an entity. Take a 60-second loan finder quiz. I could just click right here. Buying my first home. Let's see, 680's there. Most interested in, yeah, I love the Woodlands. I bought a home there before. Love it. Okay, let's do the house. Okay, based on your answers, here's the exact type of loan you're looking for. Click here and we'll show you the mortgage brokers that match with exactly what you just described you're looking for. Oh, are you looking for a real estate agent too? We scraped all those too. Well, let me show you something even cooler. This can be done anywhere. This can be done Canada. This can be done any part of the U.S. There's no limitation. This can be done in South Korea. I mean, anywhere. All that matters is that Google Maps is there, that it triggers a 3-pack and or AI, that people are actually searching for it using AI. That's it. But what do you think is the net benefit of a site like this? Why would I want to advertise my competition, guys? There's one huge factor here that we have not mentioned yet of why this is a crazy high volume lead generator. Oh, and by the way, we got all these expert guides. We took every single question that we could find. Days and days of researching and pulling all the data of every single question asked for every single loan in that city that we could find that had any amount of volume whatsoever. And we turned them into guides, clickable guides that walks them through and answers that question. So think about it. No matter what they're searching for, even if they're searching for my competition by name, chances are, given a little bit of time, because the directory is considered authoritative, because it's a third party. See, whenever your website, you're always viewed as self-promotional. But if I come in at this as a third-party site and I make myself authoritative and create an enormous conglomeration of authoritative information in one page or one site, because AI loves directories, by the way. They pull the bulk of their information from directory type sites. So we're feeding them exactly what they want. Everything on here is structured data. And I'm going to start ranking for, even if they search for the big mortgage companies by name, I'm going to be referenced. And even if they come on here and they find another loan officer other than me, I'm dropping cookies on every single person that visits. So let's say 1,000 people are searching for the month, end up on my directory, looking and scrolling through, looking for the perfect loan officer for them. I have 1,000 people now in my database that I have tracking cookies on that I can click a button and show ads to them 30 minutes from now. Right? I'm creating a database. I'm creating retargeting opportunities. And anything they fill out, it's my site. Right? How do you think Zillow and Realtor.com operates, right? They take the listings and they use the listings as bait to attract the searcher, and boom, they're capturing leads. So we create something on a hyper-local level to where we can target any loan type, and no matter what they're searching for, our chances of showing up is going to be through the roof. Now, we also put in here every calculator imaginable. So know your numbers before you talk to a broker so they can fill all this out. We got an affordability calculator, refinance break even, rent versus buy, VA loans, FHA plus MIP, everything, amortization. All the calculators are already here. It's even going to tell them the likelihood of finding a house for that particular budget. For that monthly, are you going to find something in the Woodlands? Probably not. So it's giving you and telling you where you should probably focus your house shopping efforts. So again, information gain. Remember, you have to answer the questions that the AI cannot just answer on its own. That's the whole point of this type of information. Now, this is a level 1 implementation. Let me show you the one that even blows this out of the water. for the value. Let's head right over to it right now. Boom. Real estate agents. Most people shop for their house first, right? They go and they're looking at the house before they talk to a loan officer. They shop backwards. So we're scraping every single real estate agent. All of their information, what they're good at, what they're not good at, all their reviews. But here's the thing, guys. AI, remember I told you there are different weighted factors that AI looks at than what Google looks at. One of the things that AI looks at and puts a lot of weight on is Reddit. Like I said, directory sites. And there's a grand total of about 5 or 6 major websites that AI tends to look at and view as trustworthy sources. So what we did here was, check this out. This is going to blow you away. I put a feature in here that if somebody sees a realtor and they like that realtor, they're going, oh yeah, I think this realtor looks kind of good. They can click to do a deep dive on them. Watch what it does. If I click to do an agent deep dive, so let's say I saw Sarah's information, I go, she looks like she might be a pretty good agent, but maybe just her Google reviews are good. It will go out and grab her reviews from every single website and directory out there. Her Yelp reviews, her Yahoo, her Bing, her Facebook, any feedback she's gotten on LinkedIn, if anybody's talked about her on Reddit, any of the sites that AI and Google views as authoritative, it's going to pull all the reviews from. It's going to pull the Zillow reviews, everything, and put them all in here and then average them out and say, and tell me, okay, 76% of her reviews highlighted her responsiveness and communication. 89% of the reviews cited her exceptional local knowledge, references her strong negotiation skills and outcomes, etc. So you can get enormous amounts of information. See, her Google business profile, here's all her reviews. Her Zillow Premier Agent, she's got 284 reviews. She averaged 4.95 stars. Realtor.com, 143. Yelp, 62, 4.7 stars. So they can, instead of having to search all over the internet and do all this research on somebody before hiring them, you could do it right here by clicking a deep dive button. Now, do you think somebody is going to find this to be more valuable than just self-promotion information on somebody's website? I can click here and see what every single website has to say about them. So I'm not going to be fooled by just one website. But then it's going to tell me about the consistency, because let's say they had 4.9 stars on Google, but then over on another website they had 2.5. Well, a lack of consistency can be a big warning sign, right? If, it's like, well, are you paying for those reviews on Google to hide your 2.5 stars on the other sites, right? So it'll even give me samples of some of her feedback on each one of the platforms. So if I'm a home buyer, I'm going, wow, this is super cool. I got all this information right in front of me, right? Here's the Better Business Bureau. Then it's even going to go find all her social media, which is the other thing that Google cares about and AI cares about. Now, how fast, when I have this on thousands of agents, because I could do this for an entire state if I want. I don't have to just do this for one city. I could do this for an entire state and have subpages for each city. I could pull in a huge amount of leads and traffic for that. But remember, all of the factors, all of the information that AI and Google views as important and authoritative, I'm snatching all of it and putting it in one place. So it's going to quickly view anybody that's doing real estate searches for realtors. It's going to view this, the directory that I own, as the authority, because it could get all of this information instead of having to go to 25, 30 different websites to scrape up all this information. AI is trained to be efficient. That's why this works. AI is trained to use as few tokens as possible to get an accurate response. That is part of the underlying training of an AI agent, because it burns through enormous amounts of energy and tokens, right? And bandwidth. So if I'm giving it what it wants and I'm linking back, by the way, each one of these is an active link back to the authoritative original source. So the AI looks at this and goes, sweet, score. I can find all the information right here on nearly every single agent. So anytime somebody comes in and is looking for this type of agent, it's going to start referencing and send them right over here to my directory. I'm going to drop a cookie on them. Now, I know that person's shopping for. I can see everything they just did on my site. I can see if they're serious or not. I can put whatever lead capture elements are on here and capture the leads for myself. I could put home buying guides. I could put a exit pop-up when they go to exit and say, oh, hey, you just looked at, you're about to, I see you just contacted this realtor over here, but have you contacted a loan officer yet? Because the realtor is going to ask you that, right? Here, just answer a couple quick questions here, and we'll send you over to the loan officer directory where you can also pull up all the same information on all the loan officers as well. Or if I don't want to do that, I can just send them straight over to my website if I want. If I'm the site owner, I can do what I want, right? But it doesn't matter because I've got the tracking cookie. I know who these people are now. So we got their Pinterest, we got their Twitter, we got their TikTok, we got their Facebook business page, we got their LinkedIn, and we got their Instagram, right? Right over here, boom, boom, boom. They can send a message directly to the realtor if they want. They can, oh, we got a realtor spot. I haven't even shown you that yet. So it's going to show them a score on their online presence. Then it's going to show where they've been mentioned in the press and on other websites as well. So if they have any press releases or they're showing up on any big websites, Tampa Magazine, Compass, Tampa Bay Business Journal, if any of those are out there, it's going to pull those too. What's that again? Authority, authority, authority. Remember, relevancy and authority are the two biggest aspects of SEO. So that applies to GEO and AEO and your GBP. Right? I even pulled up some of the comments other users have made on Reddit because, again, Reddit is one of the #1 sources. Even verified her license. Is she BBB accredited? Is she a National Association of Realtors in license in good standing? She's in high demand, kind of hard to get a hold of. Boom, verified. Now, what is the value of controlling and capturing all these buyer leads before they've even picked out their realtor? Now check this out. Watch this. Oh, let's go to right here. We can control the lead before the realtor has it. But now we have the perfect vehicle to get a hold of any realtor we want. Because if I can show a realtor, I say, hey, go to Google and type out this real estate term. Boom. That's my directory. Oh, now type out this real estate term. Oh, yeah, that's my directory too. Oh, now try this city. Yep, that's me too. Oh, by the way, I spotlight an agent once a month. I need somebody for April. Can we sit down and chat? I'd like to feature you as our spotlight for the month of April. By the way, I'm getting 7,900 hits and unique visitors looking at real estate every single month to my site because I'm showing up for over 147 different real estate search terms across the entire city and the surrounding regions because I added some of the agents around there too, right? So now, any realtor you want to open the door to you, to be featured on your directory when you can show off that you are getting recommended by AI, you're getting recommended by Google, you're showing up again and again and again, you're getting traffic. So now I can write up and just kind of do a nice little puff piece for them, a spotlight where, these are the Q&A and, here's your phone number, they can call you, there's your full agent profile, et cetera, et cetera. Any agent's going to say yes to this when you can show off like that. I can even do a video on them if I want. Right? Hey, Sarah, what are some of your predictions? Where do you think the real estate market's headed, for the rest of 2026? Boom. I'll list all of that. Here's some of your current listings. Let's go ahead and give them some love too on the page, right? Let's do a nice what we call a location page because Google freaking loves that. We're going to feature some of your clients, some of your case studies, how you help people, kind of rescued them, and then, oh, by the way, they can send direct messages to you, or they can call you directly. And if other agents are looking at this, getting kind of jealous, boom, they can inquire about it right here, right? Now, what's the value there? Right? Now, is it just for the spotlights? No. Oh, and by the way, we do another overlooked area for mortgage leads, guys, is relocations. So we also put a relocation guide on here too, by the way. And the design of these, this is just a quick wrapper I put on here. I can make the site look any way I want. I can make it match any site I want. This is just a very simple wrapper to make it load fast. So I used very simple design cues for it, but we can make this thing look as classy as we need to. But here's a relocation guide that covers every single fact about if I'm thinking about moving to Florida, to Tampa, it's going to tell me everything about the schools, beach access, hurricane risks, what are the cost of living differences, what are the top neighborhoods in each major city. I'm going to cover all of these, right? What are the tax benefits to living in Florida? Any cue, anything that might signal somebody's thinking about relocating or moving to that city, it's addressed in here. Daily temperatures, what's the rainiest time of year, what's the hottest time of year. Here we go. Here's an honest conversation about hurricane preparedness. Now, do you think I'm proving to AI that we're doing what's called information gain? You better believe it. So we even give them a full relocation checklist, phase 1, this is when you're 3 to 6 months out, do this, do this, do this, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, boom. Information about the job market, healthcare, finance, insurance. And you know what? I could do this for homeowners insurance directory. What are all the different types of services that somebody might look for when they're thinking about moving, relocating, right? I could add them to the directory, or I could do a directory just for them. The key is we're creating enormous value and expertise, and all of those links, who's going to be able to compete with that in my local market? By the time I'm done with this page, by the time I'm done with this directory, I have over 5,000 pages. And every one of them is packed with information. Now, it doesn't have to be that big. I can make it smaller. I could be as picky as I want and cherry pick and only put 50 realtors on here. And only realtors that I've personally worked with if I want to get really, really strict. But the beautiful thing is that now, if I wanted to mass reach out to, let's say I needed to get 5 realtor partners really, really fast. Just contacting a realtor instead of, hey, can I talk to you about my loan programs, or, oh, hey, can I send you a rate sheet? Can I talk to you about this or that? Which they've heard a million times from other loan officers that have bugged the crap out of them. Instead, hey, I run the TampaRealEstateDirectory.com, and right now we are generating X amount of clicks from home buyers every single month. Here's the link. You can go check it out yourself. And in fact, I saw your Google business page, your GBP, and my site automatically put you on there as a basic listing, but you're probably going to want to go over there and claim that listing and make sure that the phone number is accurate and your email is accurate and the rest of and you could customize and add more pictures, whatever to it, because we're getting a lot of traffic and a lot of buyers. So a lot of agents are getting good deals off of this. So here's the link. Go check it out. Do you think that's going to get their attention? You're now a source of business to them. You now have something that they don't have. I can outrank that agent on demand, and I'm not even a realtor. I can outrank them for any keyword I want because I have an authoritative directory site with enormous information gain, enormous authoritative content and linking. I've done everything that AEO and GEO and GBP guidelines have told me to do, and I've done it to the 10,000th degree. And there's no limitation on this, guys. So here's let's do. So if I'm not doing a spotlight for them, here's just a basic profile. So when that agent comes over, here's what they're going to see. So again, there's little tags. I took these tags as a cue from, this is what GBP does. This is what Google Maps does, right? Like if you look at a restaurant and you look at their reviews and they have all those little oval tags up there telling you what people have mentioned are like the best menu items. Like, oh yeah, their pizza's great, their triple cheeseburger's awesome, blah, blah, blah. So it's going to have little tags on what they're good at. Oh yeah, good affordability, great service. So I went and I took different tags, this person's luxury certified. And they're listed in the top 1% of Tampa for 2026 already. So I'm going to put those little tags up here because that's the kind of stuff Google eats up like crazy, right? So I was able to see from her website, she sold 127 million, 312 closings, 97% satisfaction ratio, average closing in 24 days. Wow, right? Impressive. Here are the areas she specializes in. Right? Been an agent for 12 years. I could see all that information. I could do all this for loan officers too, right? Do I want to focus on her performance? Do I want to focus on the neighborhoods she specializes in? What about her recent sales? Do I want to read her reviews, her credentials, or do I want to reach out to that agent, right? So here's what just a regular profile looks like. Now this looks way better than what they're getting in GBP, right? because it's giving way more information. It allows the agent to truly differentiate him or herself, right? Here are the primary areas. This is her number one specialty is South Tampa and Hyde Park, okay? Remember, we got to do multimodal. So here we go. We embedded a Google map with an overlay, an active overlay on it. Google loves that. AI loves that. Here are the recent closings we verified. We probably used Zillow, a combination of Zillow and Realtor.com for that. Any designations, awards, or recognitions goes right here. So that's complete market domination, guys. This is how you blow the mind of AI to where it feels forced to reference you. So I see some questions. So yeah, any questions, guys? Definitely let me know. I'm seeing, okay, on an old school site with the menu and child. Sorry, I had to pop that window open. Sorry, I missed your question there, Kevin, but I see it now. Will converting a bunch of child pages to question-based child pages with multimodal data be effective? It will definitely, it will help versus leaving it as is, right? Even if it's an old school site, you can kind of move the needle a little bit just by properly formatting and structuring. Because think about it this way. What is Google and what is AI? At the end of the day, what are they really? They're giant filing cabinets. At the end of the day, that's all they are. And they aim to be the most accurate and the most relevant. Their job is to give the most accurate and relevant information every single time when possible, because that's how they make their money. If they suck at that, people stop using their platform and use something else. So the more organized you can make your pages and your data to make it blatantly obvious what you do and who you help, how you help. Think who, how, why, what, right? If you could do that, you're already taking a step in the right direction. So you're already thinking about it in the right way, Kevin. Now, are there other things, you can go a step further and upgrade the website to a faster loading site. I see a lot of people with WordPress sites. One of the notes, I do love WordPress platform. You guys know I've been using it since 2005, 2006. Because I recognize plenty of names on here from back in the early 2000s when I first started teaching how to use WordPress for loan officers, right? They've been a fantastic tool, but the one thing that WordPress kind of sucks at, on average, not always, but on average, is load time, load speed, because it's a heavy code. You got that PHP in there, right? Versus, let's say a Next.js platform loads lightning fast by comparison and structures the data better for AI than something like WordPress. So if it just depends on how much progress do you want to make, how big of a change do you want to make? If you feel like all you need is a teeny tiny boost in the right direction, then what you just recommended, absolutely, it will, it can help, but it's not going to do much help if you're not also making sure that your GBP mirrors it 100%. And guys, let me tell you this. I was so excited to show you these directories that there were some other things I wanted to share with you about the GBP. And that is, you got to treat it like your web page now. You got to treat it like it's a secondary, like it's a offshoot of your website. And what I mean by that is post twice a week, every week. Consistency, don't miss it. You got to trust me on this one. Post every single week. Google wants to see you treating your GBP, your Google Maps, like it's a content hub. And the mistake I see a lot of people make is they will, be on a webinar like this and get all fired up and I'm gonna post every day. I'm gonna kick these guys' butts, right? But you do it for 3 or 4 days and then you get busy and it just drops off. Spurts of activity and inconsistency don't move the needle at all. In fact, they could be counterproductive. They don't help. I would rather you can commit to 2 posts a week because that's doable versus 4 or 5 times a week and then be sporadic. If you could do 3 times a week, even better, but I'll take 2 times a week, consistent week after week after week, any day over the inconsistency. And I don't mean just posting pictures of just whatever, right? Or promotional pictures. I mean rate updates. Think information gain. Think of some of the information that I put here on these sites. You know, what kind of information am I delivering, right? I'm talking about rates. I'm talking about the market. I'm talking about conditions. I'm talking about predictions. I'm talking about affordability. You know, these are the things that are information gain. These are the things that AI would normally have to go and scrape a whole bunch of other websites to find it. But when you're delivering it up, you're serving it up on a gold platter right there from your GBP. Awesome. Awesome. You're boosting your value, right? So look at this. See, I got all these different categories. I want to buy waterfront. I want to buy new construction. I want to buy investment. These are things people search for. I want, and then question based. That's how your content should be framed now. I want this, I want that, or I need help with, or I have a question. That's how we want to serve up our data. Okay, find your area with your relocation guide. Okay, now there's about 15, 20 other features that I put on these sites, but since this is just a demo and I want it to load super fast for the demo, I don't put them on here because this is a phase 1 implementation. Most of the time, phase 1 is going to absolutely slaughter your competition so hard that you don't need to go to phase 2. But if you're in a hyper competitive area and you need a phase 2, there's about 20 other killer features that we can add to these types of sites. Okay, will you be emailing out? Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, we'll be emailing out the PDF is the format it'll be in. Okay, let me show you guys this here real quick. I'm gonna pop back in. Let me go back. Let's make sure that's sharing. There we go. Boom. Okay, so we covered all of these. The information gain, expertise, that's like building a moat around you, right? Question-based headers, the questions you want high up on your websites, high up on your websites. And the same thing applies to GBP as well, you know, that we really want to, get into that 3-pack because that's where 80% of all the clicks are going. And everything that I just described to you is going to start giving you a huge leg up on your competition. So we talk about the EXIF, geotag images, and all this other stuff. These are things that I mentioned on the PDF as well. You know, I know you guys don't want to hear a whole bunch of technical terms on this, so I put it in the PDF so it explains what they are and how to use them. But what I want to talk about now, just real quick, is for those of you that want help for doing this, there are 2 things we can do. I'm doing something I have not done in about 5 years, and that is I'm doing, for those of you who want to do this stuff yourself, I'm taking on 10 people for small group coaching that starts in about 2 weeks. Okay? If you want my help, but you're going to be clicking the buttons, but I'm going to be showing you and teaching and giving you my feedback every step of the way. If you want a killer directory or just a absolute dominant beast of a site built for you, I do those as well. Everything I just show you here, I've already built for other mortgage companies and loan officers. Okay? So that's what we're showing here. This is what the process looks like, and you know how we secure these top rankings is every single step of the way. What I've demonstrated, what's important to AI and GBP, is what we build into our sites. Even if you don't want a directory, if you just want a monster or a beast of a homepage for yourself, for your own services, and you want to be perceived as the go-to expert, but I don't take orders for this, guys. So I'm not asking anybody to pull out their credit card or send me any money here today. The only way that I work with someone is I take a look at your market to make sure that I see vulnerabilities that we can just absolutely crush it. So if you want, first of all, the GEO overlay, the GeoGrid overlay done on your market, like I showed at the beginning of the call with the green circles showing where you're ranked at different parts of your city, go here, mortgageleadspro.com/directory. And there's a short little form that just asks about 5 or 6 questions about your challenges and what areas you're targeting, et cetera, so that I know, so I can look into your marketplace, and then just schedule a quick 15 to 20 minute call for us to discuss and look at your market and see how you compare to your competitors. And then we can decide what is needed for you to dominate, because that's what I do. You know, for the past 3 years, I haven't been doing these calls because I was pulled into a special project, a nationwide project with a company that had an enormous marketing budget. We're talking close to $500,000 a month spent on their advertising, and they needed somebody to manage that. Guess who that somebody was? That was my opportunity. I took that. Because imagine the amount of experimentation and testing and tweaking that you could do with a $500,000 a month marketing budget, right? So the strategies that I'm now teaching, that I brought back to the mortgage industry for what I was doing on this special project for 3 years, targeting high-level CEOs and business owners. And yeah, it was a crazy project, but it was really, really fun. But what I learned and how to completely dominate and just take over a marketplace, these are the strategies that we're bringing back. And this is why you don't see anybody else doing stuff like this. These are high-level strategies. This is the same thing you do if you own a lead generation company and you need to generate a huge amount of leads and sell those leads for $100, $200 a pop. These are the ways, these are the types of assets that these companies build, because it works and it scoops up and grabs huge amounts of leads in pretty short order. And it skips past the big guys in your market that are occupying those top 3 spots. They're not your competition anymore because you're not viewed as their competition, right? You're viewed as an information source, not a competitor. So the AI keeps using you as their information source. So I strongly recommend, now if you want to do the group coaching, here's what I want you to do, because we kick off, this is a one-time thing, guys. I absolutely will not be doing the group coaching thing again. I'm only doing it for 10 people, and this is not some sort of, like a false scarcity tactic. This is because of I keep my groups small. I don't like huge crowds of individuals because I cannot give the service and answer questions in a timely fashion. If it's not bringing true value, then I don't do it. So I keep them small, and I'm only going to do group coaching. Let me show you. Here's where you go. You go to /coaching. So that's mortgageleadspro.com/coaching. You could see it right here. And we kick off in 2 weeks. It shows you everything you're going to learn. Everything that we talked about here today, I'm going to show you how to do yourself. I'm going to show you how to use the AI. I'm going to show you how to find the keywords. I'm going to show you how to rank. I'm going to show you how to tweak your website. Everything that we talked about here. How to create the boxes, how to create high quality content, not the junk content, but the high quality content that AI loves, right? Now, to reserve your spot, again, there's only 10 spots. There's not going to be a second chance. It's $10 to reserve your spot. Now, that's just to reserve your spot because I don't want to give away spots to individuals if they're not serious. So the $10 is just there to hold your spot. The amount, I'll tell you right up front, it's $4.99 a month to do the group coaching. How many months do you need? Until you dominate. Some people just 1 month and they're satisfied and they're getting business. Great. That's all you need. If you feel like you need a little more time, you need 2 months or 3 months, and you can continue. You can cancel at any time. It's $4.99 a month, and you're going to be getting my assistance weekly, what to do, how to do it, and my feedback on your pages, on your site, telling you what to do next. Okay. So that's mortgageleadspro.com/coaching. For those of you that want the directory, it's the same link, but /directory. So if you want the directories, you want to go big, lead generation, /directory. If you want your own personal site and want to do it yourself, /coaching. Now, to be clear, on the coaching, we're not going to be building directory sites. That's a big build. A lot of work and a lot of development goes into that. This is going to be for your own personal website, how to rank that and your GBP. So we're going to get you on track for getting into that top 3 map pack, because that's where the Google leads are, right? And then as we kick off with GBP with the Google Maps, and then we move in module 2, we move over to the AEO, and then module 3, we move over to the GEO, right? So we've dedicated a module to each, but we also do office hours calls, where if there's anything else, even if it's off topic, you can bring those up in those calls, like anything else that you need assistance with that's related to any of these 3 topics, Google Maps, AEO, or GEO. Okay. So again, yes, we do this for individuals, Eric. Absolutely, we do. That's probably 80 to 90% of the people I work with are individual loan officers. Yes, and why the directory? It seems like at first glance you might think, oh, that's something for a whole company, but I'll tell you why loan officers use it. It's because it allows you to bypass the big guys in the market. Let's say you only got 40 or 50 reviews, and you're up against somebody that's got 800, 900, and they're throwing in 5 or 6 extra reviews every single week, so they got the volume and the velocity, and your GBP is still pretty new. How do you compete with that quickly? Nothing. It's not going to happen fast, right? That's going to be a grind to get up there, because you're starting from being several layers lower on the totem pole, because you're a newer page, right? But with something like this, it accelerates that process because it does not rely on the reviews. We're using other people's content. We're leveraging people who are already ranked well. We're leveraging the big names. Heck, let's say there's some local offices of Rocket Mortgage there. Now when people are looking up Rocket Mortgage, guess what? Now you're being referenced with them because you got them in your directory. If you want them there, you can kick them out if you don't want them there. That's the other cool thing, is you could kick out anybody that you don't want on your directory. It's your directory, right? So this is a nice shortcut for the guys that need help with that. So again, that's mortgage leads, that's plural, mortgageleadspro.com/coaching. That's for the group coaching. That's the $4.99 a month. But again, you only pay $10 for today, and you only get charged the rest in 2 weeks when we actually begin the coaching. Right? Because I'm not going to charge you guys for time that we're not actually doing anything, right? And the reason I set it for 2 weeks out is because whenever I've done these coaching, I've coached thousands of loan officers at this stage, right? Usually when I would put it for like, oh, hey, we're starting in 3 or 4 days, everybody would freak out. Oh, I'm not ready yet. I need to get this done. I need to do that. Oh, my site sucks. I need to fix this. So I've learned over the years to set it about 2 weeks out to get your stuff done. If you're in the middle of a bunch of busy sessions, a bunch of closings you need to get done, so that you can really pay attention to this, or make some small tweaks on your website, get some stuff done, get all your affairs in order, so that when we kick off, you got absolute 100% attention. That's why I do it this way. So the $10 is just to show that you're serious and hold your spot, and then the remainder gets charged when we actually begin the coaching in 2 weeks. And we are beginning it on a Thursday, by the way. Okay, I believe it's Thursday the 27th. So yeah, that's /coaching. Guys, if you have direct questions, if you're curious about whether you should do the coaching, or you're on the fence, should I do a directory, or should I just hire you to do a custom website for me? I do those too. I could build anything. We've built thousands of websites over the years. We've done this for, again, the past 3 years for an enormous company, where we were targeting millions, and we built all their web assets too. So we could build this for individuals. We could build this for broker owners, companies, everything in between, right? So if you have questions and you're not sure which is better for you, just jump on the /directory. And either fill that out, or here, let me put in the chat. I'm going to give you my contact information. Okay, so I'm going to put out, if you got questions or doubts, I've just put out, look in the chat box. I just put my phone number. Now I'm putting out my email, and then I'm going to put out clickable links. So I'm going to give you guys the coaching. So here's the clickable link. It's in the chat box now. And then now for the directory. And any questions on what we discussed while I'm typing this out, guys, now's the time to ask. I'm an open book. What made sense to you? What do you feel like you have questions? Maybe something that wasn't clear. Did we shift gears too fast? Okay, here comes the directory link. There you go, mortgageleadspro.com/directory. So you can click through. So you now got my phone number, you got my email, you got the coaching link for the group coaching, and then you got the directory link. And again, the directory link, if you go there and you fill that out, you are not paying anything today. You're not ordering anything today. What you're doing is you're scheduling a market review where I'm going to take a look at your market. I'm going to understand your market, and then we're going to discuss it and see what solution is best for you. Because I am not a one-size-fits-all guy. I do not believe in those programs. These programs where everybody's getting the same thing. I don't like that, because you are not a cookie cutter. Every loan officer's kind of got their own little things they're dealing with. You're at different stages of your career. You're at different levels in your own local market, and you got different types of competitors and different niche products you represent, different strengths, different weaknesses. I hate the one-size-fits-all solutions. So that's why I do these calls, is to make sure and say, hey, am I the right person to help you? What is your challenge? Once I understand it, yeah, here's what we need to do for you. I'm not here to tell you, yeah, even without talking to you, I know you need to do this. That would be doing you a disservice. Okay, so that's what the /directory page will do. Is you just simply fill out the questionnaire, and we will take a look at your market, and you will get the GEO grid overlay, right? So you'll understand finally how well you rank in different parts of your city. Okay, great. What other questions do we have here, guys? Throw them at me. Will you be emailing? Okay, so I answered that one there. Okay, thanks, Steve. Okay, USA and Canadian mortgage markets are totally different. There are some differences, yes. There are definitely some differences, but there are. This isn't about whether they're the same or different. All that matters is because we're going to amplify whatever you do. If you do things different, your services, the way that you sell them, whatever, that's all going to be reflected in the page. All we're going to do is amplify what's already there. What's not different is the Google algorithm and the way AI works. Because that's what we're doing, is we're building you a lead generation engine. We're helping you rank and get to the top. So I've done this, guys. I've done this in the UK. I've done this in Australia. I've done this in 4 different countries now. And I've had probably about, 70 to 80 clients in Canada. So obviously the bulk of my business is in the US because that's where I'm from, but I've done this in 4 different countries as well. So to me, I'm completely market agnostic. All that matters is does Google Maps work in your country, and are people using AI? Because that's what we're catering towards. Whatever's different about your services, that will be reflected in the material we create. Okay, great. So great question. Let's see. If you're quoted in a financial article, is there a way to hyperlink the article? Yes, Kevin, so Kevin's asking, if you are quoted in a financial article, is there a way to hyperlink the article to a Google page? Yeah, you can absolutely do that. As long as it's just what we call a naked link, right? We don't want to try to insert anchor text into it. So if it's just, www.yourwebsite.com, that's perfectly fine. You can do that, because there's no way to stop that anyways, right? People are linking to websites all the time. Google's not going to give you a hard time about that. It's when we're trying to stuff them full of keywords and whatnot, and we're overdoing it, that's where Google starts to get, have a little bit of trouble and get a little upset. Okay, so great question. Okay, so better to qualify. Okay. All right. Yeah, John, absolutely. I got your email there. Okay, so great questions. Yeah, Kevin, I will share this. I will be making the video available, the replay. Give me probably till tomorrow, because I have this. It saves to the cloud, but when I go to download it from the cloud, oftentimes there's compression, and I got to kind of fix some of that because it lowers the volume and it lowers the video quality, the visual quality. So we usually got to fix those things before we make them available. But by tomorrow, I should have a replay available, and I will send that out to everyone who attended. Okay. So what else? What else? Any questions on the GBP? Was that crystal clear? As far as what not to do anymore, and as far as the AEO and GEO. I mean, do you guys see the value in having AI recommend you and refer business your way? When AI says, "Hey, this loan officer is great at this. Here's their phone number. Here's their email. Here's their website." The quality of that lead is just out of this world. So our goal here, because here's what's changing, this is what scares me, is you have these multi-billion-dollar companies that are trying their best to gatekeep traffic. They don't want the traffic going to your websites anymore. Because whenever somebody leaves their platform, they're not making money. They want to be making money 24/7. So the way that you fight that, because I don't know if I explained to you guys why leads are kind of down or have been historically down on Google Maps for a while, the 30%. I said at the beginning that some of it's due to AI, but there's a secondary reason. Google did it intentionally. So what I mean by that is there used to be, on Google Maps, there used to be a big clickable button where somebody could just click to contact you when they're scrolling through the Google Maps. So if somebody looked for a loan officer and they say, "Oh yeah, look at this guy, I'm gonna give him a call." They could just click that button. It would say, "How would you like to be connected?" They could either call you direct and boom, your phone's ringing, or they could click to send you a direct message through Google, or they could click to email you, right? So you had 3 different ways to get the leads. And that worked beautifully for a long time. And I've never seen people get better and more quality and quicker leads on Google Maps than then. Google started to get pissed off because they wanted people clicking on the Google AdWords, on the paid ads, the sponsored results. So what they did was they said, "Wow, these clickable buttons work so well, we're going to remove them from the free accounts, from the GBP, from the Google Maps. And the only way to get those buttons is to run an ad, to run a paid ad." And so not only did they remove the button, but they put the button and then they amplified and made it even bigger and bolder when you run a paid ad, because they're making money off of you now. That's why we saw the drop. It's not because fewer people, suddenly care about mortgage loans. No, it's because unless you're running ads, you don't have the click to call button anymore, the click to contact. So see, they make these decisions to what's self-serving, what benefits them, not what benefits you. It's what benefits them, what forces you to dig into your pocket and pay them for traffic and leads. So when I said what scares me is their goal is to keep people away from your website. So they're trying to curate as much content and pull it off of your page and just show it in the AI results, in the answer engine results, so that nobody has to go to your website. So how do you fight that? You fight that by creating a tremendous asset. That's the whole point of the directory, is Google cannot replace the whole freaking directory, right? If you're the one that's curating all the content and putting it into one place, people are going to use your website because it's more usable, it's more informative, it's actually superior for getting knowledge. When somebody can click, do a deep dive on this agent or do a deep dive on this loan officer, how much more valuable is that than just reading a couple reviews on Google Maps, right? These are the types of tools that separate and create a wall, an impenetrable wall around you so that you can't just be replaced by AI. That's the point of building sites this way, okay? To make something that's indispensable, irreplaceable. When anybody could just copy off of you, when the barrier to entry is low, when it takes me 15, 20 minutes to just throw up a quick WordPress site, no, yeah, I could just copy off of you. That's when you end up with, oh yeah, just another Me Too site. But when you create something that actually curates content and creates huge value and does things differently, they go, oh crap, I don't know how the person did that. You're not going to have much competition. Make sense? All right, guys. So one last opportunity for questions. Did everybody got my email? You got my phone number? You got my links? If there's any last minute questions, let me know now. If there's anybody I need to contact, you can actually text me at that phone number. Is probably the easiest way to reach me. But yeah, anything that I didn't cover, let me know. Shoot me an email, and I will get the replay out, and I will have the PDF document available to go out as well. That has the code in it for creating the boxes and the instructions on the different information gain elements. All right. Awesome. Thank you very much for joining today, guys. I look forward to chatting with you soon. I will see you next time, okay? My next one should be in roughly 2 weeks. And by the way, if there's any topics that you'd like me to cover on these sessions, I do these every other week, or I try to. So send me any topics that you'd like to see covered. I love getting feedback. So please, please, please send me some feedback. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. Connect with me over there. I got my newsletter over there, so I'm also giving good information on my newsletter in between these webinars and these workshops. And you could shoot me a message over there too with any recommendations on topics for covering. All right. I'll see you guys next time. Make it a great day. Bye now.